Hello everyone and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Lyndall Stout. We join you today from the Cimarron Valley Ag Research Station at Perkins. Even though it's winter, Oklahoma pecan producers are already thinking about the next growing season. We'll have more on pecans in just a moment. But first, we're talking about nitrogen application in wheat with Dr. Brian Arnall.
When we look at the season, we have some stuff that happened that's not normally for a normal season. So a lot of the folks went in, we were so dry through September and early October when we're normally planting, fertilizing. With the high prices of fertilizer, with the dry soils, we really pulled back on the pre-plant nitrogen that usually goes out on our grain-only wheat. Even pulled back on some of our nitrogen on our graze and grain wheat. So now we're coming out, we've warmed up a little bit. We do have that moisture that came through October, November, and early into December. So we have some soil moisture. So the decision's trying to be made now. How much do we fertilize? When do we fertilize? And what's the optimum rate?
So how are you answering that for producers?
So there's a couple scenarios that we can work off with, and I try to give options so they can make the decision. One is if it's a grain only, much like I've said many years in the past, is that we don't have to get in a rush with grain only wheat. We can wait a little bit further, because my concern right now is that yes, the wheat's starting to grow. We're getting these warm afternoons and we're seeing good growth, but if you look at the mesonet, there's 0 to 16 inch soil moisture is okay. We have 2 to 4 inches depending on where you're at. But if you zoom down to that next depth, that deeper depth, numbers don't change much. So that means we're living on shallow soil moisture. So as we're growing, we're starting to burn through that soil moisture. As that soil moisture starts getting used, our yield potential has the chance to go down if we don't get more rain. So we're caught in this basket of how much do we fertilize for and when do we fertilize? I like to wait. I like to hold that decision until we learn a little bit more about the season. Are we going to get the rains in February? Are we going to have some March rain? So if we look at the wheat like we're out on today, this wheat has enough nutrients. It's not grown a lot. It can manage. In fact, it's good if it stresses a little bit and we can wait until fertilize until February or March. But right now is not a bad time. Producers that want to go out today, early January, late January, I recommend that. That's okay. I would pull back the rate. Let's put on 30 or 40 pounds of nitrogen now and let's see how the rest of the season goes. I'm really suggesting to include a zero check on those folks going out right now, 0 and a high. And I'm willing to make shape files for folks. So if you send me your field boundaries, I'll send you a file so that the sprayer or spreader will go through your field and about half an acre make a zero block and half an acre make a big enrich block. And so you can see those for the rest of the season.
For those who want to go ahead and fertilize now, when they see the zero, what do they need to do?
So that zero check is a really great opportunity for us to see what the environment is providing. If you see it, you know. So if you fertilize now in a week or two, you see that 0 in check show up, you know that that wheat field is really dependent upon you to fertilize it to maximum potential. However, as you're going through from January to February and into early March, and you can't find that zero check, that means your residual is high and the crop is surviving. See, last year with the drought, we had a lot of nitrogen moving up in the soil profile. We had really poor summer crops that left their fertility in the soil profile. So we have a lot of unknowns going in the season, and these reference strips, high and low, can be a big win. If you're not going to go out with fertilizer right now, which I don't think you need to, I would still recommend putting it out in rich strips to have an idea of what that environment's going to tell you.
And it could affect your bottom line, of course. And let's also talk about prices now.
Yep.
When we talked, a few months ago, and of course this time last year, it was all over the place.
Yep.
It's better now?
Yeah, it's absolutely better. The international markets seem to be improving. The European fertilizer manufacturers are starting to ramp up, so we're seeing signs that that price is going to fall. We've already seen prices drop. They're not where we want them at as any producer that's having to pay that check, but they're definitely coming down. So the expectation is that we see the trend for fertilizer prices start coming down as that European market and that European manufacturer really starts ramping up and starts producing, because all those plants are about to come on board.
Well, let's hope so.
Let's hope
okay?
so.
Enough already. Well, Brian, good to see you. Thanks a lot for your great information.
Good to see you too.